Hello, this is Professor BRB, and in this fourth video in this series, we're going to do artboard number 4 down here, which is using the rotate tool to draw a flower. So let's go to artboard number 4 in the status bar, and I'd like you to switch into the Essentials Classic workspace, which is the workspace I'll be using. So your screen will look similar to mine. So we're going to be drawing on some skills from previous lessons here and learning some new ones. Let's start off with the ellipse tool here, which we have used in all of the previous lessons, and holding down a shift key, make a perfect circle. I'm just going to go to the default stroke and fill here for the moment and show my non-printing grid. After I draw the ellipse, it comes up with a bounding box here. So if I go to my selection tool and I select the side of the bounding box and hold down my Option on a Mac or my Alt key on a PC, I can squeeze it in until I have a shape like my petal shape here. You can kind of see a little diagram of that right there. I think I'll change the fill here just so we'll have a little bit more colorful fill to work with. And next, we're going to use the rotate tool. Now, in the last video, we used the reflect tool, which lives under the rotate tool. And these tools are related, but they work a little bit differently. So if we choose our rotate tool, and we hold down our Option on a Mac or our Alt on a PC, we're just going to click in the center, and that sets our rotation point and also brings up the rotate dialog box. And because there are 360 degrees in a circle, and I want the number of petals to come out evenly, I need to choose a rotation number that divides evenly into 360. From experience, I know that 30 degrees of rotation will give me a good result. And instead of OK, I know it's outlined, but don't click OK, click Copy. So that's a good start. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go Object, Transform, Transform Again. And you notice here it says Command D as the keyboard command. It's a lot faster to hold down your Command key and just hit D, D, D. And bingo, you've got your flower. That was pretty quick, wasn't it? Maybe I'll go to no fill here, just so you can see a little bit better what's going on. So here is our flower, or our petals, but you can see that it's a little more complicated than it needs to be. I've got this effect, but what I want is this effect. And keeping them all selected, of course I could use the Shape Builder tool, which we used in a previous video, but that would take a lot of kind of scrubbing around, and there is a faster way to do it. Before we had the Shape Builder tool, for this kind of task we used the Pathfinder, and you can find that under the Windows menu. And the Pathfinder does a lot of what the Shape Builder does, and it also does other things, and it does things a little faster. So I'm going to click here on the very first option, which is Unite, and you'll see what it does is it merges all those shapes into one. So that is exactly what I wanted. Now next, what I want to do is copy and rotate the shape I've just created to make a secondary set of petals, which I'm then going to scale down, but first I have to rotate them. So I go back to my rotate tool, hold down my Option or my Alt key and click once again, and now I'm going to divide my 30 in half. into 15. And once again, click copy. That was pretty easy, wasn't it? Now I want to get an effect like this, where the inner petals are a little bit smaller. So once again, I go back. I'm actually going to go to my scale tool. We haven't used the scale tool yet. The scale tool enlarges and shrinks things. So right next to the rotate tool is the scale tool. I'm going to hold down my option or my alt key, click on that, and I think I'll try 80%. And in this case, I don't want to copy it. I'm just going to click OK. There. Okay, that's coming along pretty well. So let's fill this with some color and kind of see what we have. I think I used a dark blue there, and this one I can use a light blue gradient. Nice. You'll notice down here I did another inner set of petals, so why don't we go ahead and do that? It's very easy to do. You can see how quickly we've accomplished this. I'm going to go back to my scale tool, hold down my option or my alt key, click in here, and in this case I'm going to do 80 degrees again, but I'm going to click copy, and that'll make another set of petals for me. Very nice. So let me see, what color do I want to make those? So you can, one of the fun things about vector drawing is that you can really do a lot of experimenting with different colors and kind of see what pleases you. Everybody will have a different taste or a different thing that they prefer. So play around with it. I think play is a very important part of learning. So I always recommend that people spend a good bit of time just fooling around. So that's getting kind of interesting. We're really almost done. You can see how productive you can get once you learn to use these tools. Now, you'll notice in my sample here that I created kind of a center. And there's really nothing new in the way that I did that. It's all things that we have done before. So if I wanted, I'm going to do Command Y to take me to counting on my smart guides to kind of show me the center there. If I hold down my Shift and Option keys, I can draw a circle from the center, and I'll fill that circle with, say, yellow. And I'm going to get rid of the stroke. And when you look at this, you can't see it yet, but when I do Command Y, it brings back my colors. Now, I notice I have some black outlines on some of these, and I really don't want that, so I'm going to select those and get rid of the black outline. As I zoom in on this and kind of look at it, I realize I'm really not very happy with the size of this. I think I should have made it smaller. So I'm going to scale it just a little bit, rescale it with my scale tool. And one of the beauties of vector drawing is that you can keep revising. Now at this point, I think it's going to be useful to have the center point easy to find. So I'm going to pull in some guides from the rulers to give me, that's popping around on me here, to give me an accurate center point. Oops. Oops, my guides are locked. It's good to know how to lock and unlock the guides. It's under here, under View, Guides, Unlock Guides. A lot of times we keep them locked because guides can be selected, and that can be quite annoying. So that's why I had them I'm just going to go block guides there again so they don't get selected. So now I have a center point here, and if I want to make the center details that I showed, it's easy enough to do. I'm holding down my space bar so I can move that around. And that's a stroke, so I'm going to flip the stroke and fill here. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to kind of leave you to figure this out for yourself. This is a great opportunity for you to play a little. I'm going to go to my rotation tool here, hold down my Option key, and maybe try 30 again. Copy, Command D, 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 D. So I think you can kind of see how this goes. Let me show you an interesting little trick. Now, if I wanted to select all of those little ellipses that I just created, I've got one selected. We'll be learning this later on, but if we go up to the top to the Select menu, you have this very useful feature, Select Same, Fill, and Stroke. That's kind of cool. And now I'm going to group those. And what that means is that if I select one of them, that I select all of them. So I think by playing around, learning what we just learned, playing around with the Scale tool and the Rotate tool, you could make yourself a really nice little center. And just fool around. You won't like everything that you do, and that's totally fine. It's best, actually, because it's by finding out what you don't like that you find out what you do like. So I'm going to leave it up to you now to create a center using the Rotate and Scale tools. And for our next video, we're coming to the end of our playlist here. For the next video in this playlist, we'll be going to artboard number 5 and learning how to create this very simple flower pot, stems, leaves, and then in our last video, we'll be putting it all together. So I hope you'll stick with me for the whole playlist, and thank you for working along with me.